How's it going, everybody? This is Beat the Bush. Today, I'm going to talk about why I paid off my mortgage in 7 years. Now, if you saw my previous videos the last couple of weeks, I kind of mentioned it once or twice over here. Today, I want to talk about it in detail and just kind of explain to you how I was able to do it. Some people might assume that I'm making a lot of money, so much so that I can pay off my mortgage. This is not the case. I'm actually making a lot less. And in fact, I was able to pay off my mortgage before I quit my engineering job and switch over to YouTube. You could say that could be considered part of the catalyst at which allows me to do that switch. Now you might go, well, where did I get the money from? It's basically mostly from my engineering job. So without doing this whole career thing as an engineer, I probably would have a much harder time paying it off. Now you might go, okay, really? How did you pay it off? Because I do live in the Bay Area and this home, oh my gosh, it costs a lot of money. Basically throughout my career, I spent very little. And at the same time, I keep on getting pay raises. I work very hard. It's typical for me to get about 10 to 25% raises staying at the same job. Or even when I switch jobs, I always look to increase my pay in one way or another. During all this time where I'm saving money and not really spending all that much of it, I am very aware that if I put the money into the mortgage, I'm actually having it locked in. Once you put it in, you can't actually easily take it back out. So what's on my mind all this time is that, yes, I could put it all into the mortgage, but I don't. Because there's an opportunity cost here. If I have a lump sum of money just set aside, it means that if there is some other downturn, a housing downturn or anything, then I can have a lump sum of cash and I can go, okay, let me just buy another property because I see that there's a good opportunity. But what happened was no new good opportunity came up. There was no downturn during this whole time. So then I'm like, okay, now that I can pay it off and I have a little bit of buffer room left, then I can go, okay, now I will pay it off. I purchased this place sometime at the end of 2010. I finished paying it off sometime mid 2018. So this is about 7.5 years or so. So that's why I say in about 7 years. Now, how I think about this is that as long as I can pay the property tax, I can survive and I'll have a roof over my head. So this is a huge amount of stress that's removed from my life because I always know that, okay, as long as I can pay the property tax, because if you don't, I feel like something bad is going to happen definitely. But if I do, I have this minimal obligation to meet, and yet I can still have a roof over my head, and I essentially won't be homeless because of this fact. So you can say, all this stuff over here, this set that you see is actually my living room. I own this. And it's really great to be able to say something like this. Now, I fully realize that there are some people out there that think that I really shouldn't have paid it off. It's actually really stupid to do so because I could have used that money to buy more properties and then go rent it out, and then I'll have a very high positive cash flow. Here is my response to that is basically, I enjoy simplicity. I know it's costing me a certain amount in order to not do all this fancy trick, have 4 rental properties and then rent those out and then have some income. But then having it leveraged like that kind of causes me stress. And I really put a high priority on reducing my stress levels, and just kind of knowing I have something paid for just kind of, allows me to think more clearly. And I put a huge premium on my state of being, if that makes sense. Now, there's yet another reason why I chose to pay off my mortgage rather than have it sit around and just pay mortgage interest so that I can take the deduction is because of the 2018 changes in taxes. 2017 standard deduction for a single filer is $6,350. 2018, this changed to $12,000. So it's about a difference of $6,000. Now, if you have a home, having mortgage interest deduction is a huge part of it. For me personally, it actually pushed me over so that I can itemize my deduction. But if I wipe out this mortgage interest deduction, then I'll have very little to deduct. The idea here is that because the standard deduction is $12,000, if somehow my deduction comes underneath this, that will mean that whatever amount that's underneath $12,000, this will be essentially tax-free money. So let's say if I were to itemize and I only come up to $11,000, then if I go with standard deduction, I would have another $1,000 that is deducted off of my income, which is something that I do not have to pay taxes on. So if I'm in the 30% tax bracket, every $1,000 that I'm under, I would save another $300 in taxes. So it's a complete 180-degree turn here, because I see that the standard deduction increased to all the way $12,000. So this means that the less deduction I have, if I'm able to control this, which I did, the more free deductions that I would have, if that makes sense, because I can just go and take the standard deduction. But in reality, if I don't have all that much deduction because I paid off my mortgage, I don't have any more mortgage interest, then I can potentially have thousands of dollars of deductions that's just basically written off based on the standard deduction. So suffice to say, this change right on 2018, it's on purpose. I see that the tax changes are coming, and then I'm like, okay, I could pay off my mortgage, and all of a sudden I don't have to do this, mortgage interest deduction things, and I could potentially come way under $12,000. So this would be an advantage to me. Now I realize not all people will have this option to choose from, because I just happen to get lucky, okay? I happen to, in 2018, am able to pay off my mortgage. I have the option to, and I look at the tax code changes, and if I do something like this, it would be advantageous to me. So I went ahead and did it. On top of paying off the mortgage, okay, yes, I do not get to deduct that mortgage interest anymore. But on top of this, I do not have to pay the bank the 3.5% mortgage interest anymore. So on top of this, I am saving money from not having to pay the bank. So there it is. This is the reasoning behind me paying off. And, I have to say, it feels good to have it paid off. If you watch my previous videos, this is one of the main reasons why I'm able to lower my burn rate to such a low amount. I basically spend about $50 every single day. That is my minimal burn rate, and I need to earn that much in order to survive, basically. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope this was interesting for you guys, because these are actual changes I made to my own personal finances, and I think it's a good move, considering the tax changes. Don't forget to give me a like on this video, push that subscribe button, and ring that bell icon. Thanks for watching.